All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of Muckin N Grindin. It's your host, Rob. I'll be your host for the next half hour or so. First, we got a merchandise announcement. We have, yesterday with the start of the NFL season, we have Loudmouth Sports Talk and Bombshell Bowling present to you a $5 off promo on all your gear. Welcome in the football season. Get your shirts, hoodies to represent your favorite sports group. The code is all caps NFL Kickoff 5. That is NFL KICKOFF 5. Get $5 off your favorite sports talk show apparel. That's $5 off of the hoodies and t-shirts. Bombshell Bowling takes care of us very well. Help us out, represent us very well with your Loudmouth Sports Talk apparel. We have the conference finals going off right now. We have the Dallas Stars ahead of the Vegas Golden Knights, which is a little surprising, but this series has been great so far. Jamie Alexiak with one of the slowest breakaway goals I have probably ever seen. But it's funny to see that he had a breakaway goal with a forward chasing him down, and his defensive partner, Miro Heiskanen, was the other basically forward coming back on a 2-on-1 if Alexiak happened to get stopped by Robin Leonard. The three forwards ended up playing back and playing D, which was actually pretty cool to see. It's a weird game. Sometimes the puck luck and bounces go your way. Sometimes they don't. Tampa Bay and the New York Islanders so far. Game one was a barn burners. Tampa Bay wins 8-2. The other night, they take game two also. Excuse me. They take game two 2-1 on a questionable call, on an icing call to the Islanders were up 1-0. There was an icing call where Devontae Taves was just short of the red line. The linesman didn't give him the icing. It looked very, very, very close, like frog's hair close, that it hit Kevin Shattenkirk's stick. They didn't go to a review, which I actually would have called for a review, some type of a challenge on that play, because the puck did change direction. But not every case, I guess, is reviewable, or the coach wants to go ahead and take that opportunity to take that chance and getting a delay game penalty. Putting your team down 2 minutes in the playoffs is a hard thing to do. Both series so far have been excellent. Great gameplay. Great goaltending. Thomas Greiss in the first game with the Islanders the Lightning put up a 3-spot real quick. Semyon Varlamov came in to relieve him, and it didn't go well from there. With that game one being 8-2, Varlamov played very well in game two. He beat himself up a little bit on the one goal. Victor Hedman's goal to tie the game beat him short side. It was a little bit of a screen and beat him short side, right inside the post. It's a tough goal to give up, but you got to help your defensemen help you out a little bit here and there. Those things do happen. It's the playoffs. It is what it is. You just hopefully get to come out with your next best game is the only thing you can do. You got to play for the next game. We have trade news, rumors, whatever you want to call it. The Penguins have traded, as I'm looking right now, that the Penguins traded Nick Bjugstad traded Nick Bjugstad to the Minnesota Wild Let's see what the trade is for. Penguins in a low risk move for a conditional 7th-round draft pick. It's believed the condition of the draft pick has to do with how many games he plays next season as Bukestad tries to revitalize his career in a new backyard. Bukestad, acquired from the Florida Panthers in 2018-19, was limited to 13 games. He had spinal surgery this offseason. It is a contract year for him. Hopefully he's healthy and will have be able to resurrect his career, because Nick Bukestad is one of the all-around good guys. He's a decent player. He's a good center. He'd be a good third line center for the Minnesota Wild. Let's just hope he stays healthy for that. It's always good to see a guy come back from any kind of surgery, be able to come back and revitalize his career. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm battling a little bit of allergies here. It's a little frustrating. Darren Dreger is reporting now the Bukestad to Minnesota. We'll go with the Penguins feed. It says the Penguins traded for conditional. The conditional pick will give the Penguins 5 picks in the 2021 draft. It is kind of a salary dump in a way. It's not much of a salary to really dump. We'll go back and let's take a look to see what his salary cap numbers were on Cap Friendly. Cap Friendly has got to be one of the absolute best websites to check any type of cap. If you have a cap casualty, long-term IR, how much projected cap space. The Penguins have $6.95 million right now. Tells you how many draft picks they have, years remaining on their contracts, the terms, if they have a no movement clause or if modified no movement clause. Let's see, Cap Friendly has Nick Bukestad has 1 year remaining at a remaining daily cap hit at $4.1 million. It'll be some relief for the Penguins to actually have that removed from their cap. That would possibly give them, let's see, what be almost $11.2 million freed cap space. The roster size right now is it would be 19 forwards under contract. They have 50 contracts they can give. That's a complicated game. Which was very surprising to actually see Nick Bukestad be traded today. He was not one of the guys on the radar to be traded. There's a lot of rumors going around that Matt Murray would be traded to either Calgary or Edmonton. GMJR's asking price, from what I've read on a couple other guys, is a little steep. That he wants a first-round pick for Matt Murray. Some teams are willing to part with maybe a second-level prospect and the a third or fourth line winger or forward, whichever way you want to go at it. The other pieces that could be moved or the rumor to be moved could be possibly Patrick Hornquist. Dominic Simone is a restricted free agent, but if he does not come back, I don't think we're really going to miss much. I honestly feel that Dominic Simone is one of those players that if he moves, you will never notice. I watched him play in the International Hockey League World Championships. He played on the line with Teddy Bluger and Leon Draisaitl, and he put up some of the biggest numbers I've ever seen from a forward that actually does nothing in the NHL. But I digress. Let's go back to the forwards at hand. Jack Johnson is everybody's favorite whipping boy. Everybody wants to see Jack Johnson be part of a deal that sends, it's Matt Murray's the hot commodity that a lot of these Western Conference teams want. Minnesota has been rumored to want him, which wouldn't surprise me with half of the roster that the Penguins have. Minnesota wouldn't want half of them, considering Billy Guerin is their general manager. Mark Recchi being hired by the New Jersey Devils, which is not a surprise also because Tom Fitzgerald is the general manager there. He took over after Ray Shero was fired a couple years ago. And Tom Fitzgerald was an assistant GM to Ray Shero when they were in Pittsburgh. He knows Mark Recchi well. He's a good guy. Wish Mark Recchi the best. But let's go back to the point at hand. There's going to be a flurry of deals made between now and October 6th, which is the actual first day of the NHL draft. I think the Ottawa Senators have 3 first-round picks total. It could be a flurry of deals made on draft day. There could be a flurry of deals made just before then or right after the Stanley Cup Finals. Not exactly sure the date of when the finals would start because you have to wait for the conference finals to finish, which they're actually moving everything along very, very fast, which is a good thing to see. And they are talking that the possibility of a full season next year, but starting January 1st, that would put you at 4 games a week for 20 weeks. That's a lot of games in a short amount of time. If it was me as a general manager, I would hope to go to Daly, the head union rep for the NHL, and say, hey, look, we wouldn't mind starting in December and hopefully alleviating some of the pain of playing a full season in a shorter amount of time would give us an extra month and make sure that, these guys have at least an ample time enough to have a little bit of breaks in between the games. My dog's moving my stand here. Sorry about that. If the season were shortened maybe a little bit, maybe to 60 games, I wouldn't have a problem with the January start date whatsoever. You could possibly cut down some of your division games, or even if you really wanted to cut out your Western Conference trip and play in a certain division in the Western Conference. Me preferably, I would rather see them play those Western Conference teams and play the shortened division schedule instead of playing teams in their division 70 times like they do. Shorten it to take 2 games off of each one of your opponents in your division and play a better schedule. Would love to see the fast and furious movement that's coming before the October 6th NHL draft date. It's going to be tight because there's the salary cap is $81.5 million. There's going to be a hard cap for next year. Buying out contracts is one of those things that a lot of teams are not going to want to do. There's a few teams that are really going to have to hit that salary cap floor. Let's look at Cap Friendly again while we're at it and see some of those teams that possibly have to hit that cap floor, because there are certain teams that you have to reach a X amount of dollars for the cap floor, which was, it's a little hard looking it up on your phone. It doesn't want to check the Ottawa Senators. See, current cap space for the Ottawa Senators is $39.6 million. So the Ottawa Senators could spend like crazy this offseason, considering their roster size. They have technically Bobby Ryan, Colin White, Artem Anisimov, and Brady Tkachuk, Thomas Chabot, Nikita Zaitsev, Mike Riley, Christian Wolanin, Anders Nielsen, and Marcus Hedberg are the only players under contract for next season. That's 2 goaltenders, 4 defensemen, and 4 forwards under contract. You have two UFAs. The rest of them, the forwards, are restricted free agents. You have 2 UFAs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 restricted free agents. Excuse me. Your defenseman, you have Ron Hainsey, who is 39 years old, is an unrestricted free agent, and Mark Bokanecki is 31, and he's an unrestricted free agent. Andres Englund is 24. He's a restricted free agent, so most likely they will go after him to re-sign. But they have a lot of holes to fill. The Detroit Red Wings are in the same boat. They have $35 million under the cap. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 forwards under contract, 3 defensemen, and 1 goaltender under contract. So that leaves Detroit as one of the favorites in trying to trade 4 draft picks for Matt Murray. Don't really see that happening because I think they're going to test free agency to go after a Braden Holtby, somebody more established, a little bit more of a veteran presence in the pipes. Colorado Avalanche have been suspected as going after Matt Murray. They do have their first round draft pick. They do not have a second. They have Toronto's third, and they have a 4th and 5th round pick, but they also have their first and second for 2021 and 2022 right now. They have $22.25 million in cap space. Buying out contracts right now is not exactly the answer. The Calgary Flames have been rumored into it for the Matt Murray sweepstakes, if that's what you want to call them, sweepstakes. Calgary has almost 17 million in cap space. They only have 2 restricted free agent forwards and 2 unrestricted free agent forwards, which they not really surprising that they're really not too big of a deal to let go if they wanted to. They have 4 defensemen under contract. 3 of those are 3 of their steady defensemen. They have 2, 4, and 6 years left on their contracts, respectively. The main defenseman that they may lose is TJ Brody. TJ Brody is one of the better right-handed or right defensemen in the NHL. He's 30 years old. He's an unrestricted free agent, so he's going to test the free agent market big time. Cam Talbot is an unrestricted free agent. He's 33 years old, so he's probably going to try to test the market himself, which leaves David Rittich is their only goaltender they have, and he's only under contract for this season. So that's why Calgary is very heavy on the Matt Murray front, but they also feel that the first round pick for Matt Murray is a little steep. They have actually a decent amount of young forwards. Johnny Gaudreau has actually been rumored as to being, or Sean Monahan, being war out their welcome per se, is what they say anymore, to be moved. They feel that they should have been a lot better of a team under the 2 of them. Johnny Gaudreau is now 27 years old. Sean Monahan's 25, and it's a center, and he's got 3 years left on his contract. at a $6.375 million cap hit. Johnny Gaudreau's is a 6.75. To be honest, neither one of them would look bad, and I mean they'd look great in a Penguins uniform. I can't deny that. But one of the things that they would have to do is with Travis Hamonic, Michael Stone, Eric Gustafson, TJ Brody being unrestricted free agents is a possibility to, if you do trade Matt Murray to Calgary, could you throw Jack Johnson in on that deal to help clear some cap space and maybe take both of those guys off Calgary's hands? And F the draft pick. Don't worry about it. We don't need it. We would go after the two of them. Edmonton is another team that was rumored in the Matt Murray deal. They have $10.5 million in cap space. Draft pick wise, they have all three of their draft, the 2020, 2021, and 2022 first round picks. They have those. Forward wise, they're really Andres Anastasiou. It was on injured reserve to finish out the season with Edmonton. He's a restricted free agent. Riley Sheehan and Tyler Ennis are both unrestricted free agents. Forward-wise for Edmonton, Matthew Benning and Ethan Bear are the two restricted free agent defensemen that they have. Mike Smith is a free agent. He's 38 years old. Don't really see him Edmonton spending the money to keep him, considering Mikko Koskinen has actually played very well for them. He's 32 years old, though. That's a downfall. They would look to be going younger with Matt Murray, who's 26, if I'm not mistaken, right now. Let's take a look. Yeah, we'll go through it. Take a look. The Penguins site has now just been updated by Cap Friendly. The Penguins cap space right now is $9 million, which is awesome because that's how fast Cap Friendly updates their site, which is it's impressive. Actually, right now, yeah, Matt Murray is 26, Tristan Dore is 25. Casey DeSmith is technically your only goaltender under contract with 2 years left remaining on his deal at $1.25 million, and he is age 29. You have Justin Schultz as your only unrestricted free agent. Other than that, you really don't need a defenseman, which is kind of surprising unless you do decide to trade Jack Johnson. Chris Letang's name has come up, and he even himself has said, is quoted by other sports writers, is nervous that he is pretty sure he is going to be traded before the draft or before the trade deadline next season. He said he feels that his time in Pittsburgh is over. He wants to finish his career in Pittsburgh. As a personal standpoint, he was drafted as a right winger. I wish he would have stayed a right winger because maybe he could take wrist shots and actually put the puck on net. He's one of the defensemen who's very inconsistent in putting the puck on the net. I know he scores goals and stuff like that, but when you actually go back and look at his goals that he has scored, they are from a half slap or a quarter slap shot, or they've had a seeing eye puck and luckily got through. Forward-wise, the Pens do need a few forwards. They have 3, 6, 9, 10 forwards under contract at the moment. Patrick Marleau is unrestricted. Connor Sherry is unrestricted. Marleau's 40, Sherry's 28. I do not suspect that the Penguins will bring either one of them back. It's rumored that Patrick Marleau will be going back to San Jose to finish out his career and retire as a San Jose Shark. Jared McCann is a restricted free agent at 24 years old. He's been rumored as part of a deal to be sent out. Sam Lafferty is a restricted free agent. Dominic Simone, restricted free agent. Anthony Angelo is a restricted free agent. Of those last three that I mentioned, Sam Lafferty seems to be the front runner in getting re-signed. They're really high on a kid from Hollidaysburg, which is awesome to see. A local kid being able to play for his hometown team, sort of. It's an hour and 45 minutes away. I pull for the kid because he's a center. the kid's got a lot of heart. He's not afraid to hit. He does play the puck well. He has some skill and he has decent speed. And plus the cap hit, if he signs an extended contract, will probably be roughly, if he does like a 3-year deal for maybe 2.5 million. Like he's one of those guys that'll get like $825,000 a year, which is not exactly a bad thing. If you can make a living off of that, hey, why not? If it's the work you can get, have at it. Personally, if you are able to move, say, a Patrick Hornquist who's making $5.3 million, he's 33 years old. Granted, I love the net front presence, but the speed is not there anymore. He's more of a built for a Western Conference team with a little bit of size, like in Edmonton or Calgary. I love the fact that Jason Zucker has 3 years left at 5.5. Brandon Tanev at 3.5 million is having 5 years left. To me, is still a steal. Turbo gets into the corner. He's a smaller guy and he's not afraid to hit. This team needs a fourth line guy who's possibly not afraid to throw the gloves, like a Ryan Reeves type guy. You know, it's a shame that, you know, the Reaper wasn't able to stay here. It would have been really nice to see him stay here, possibly, you know, maybe even finish out his career here. But I mean, everything happens for a reason. These guys, it's a system they play. Sometimes the system is not exactly how they want to play, and it is what it is. Some coaches feel free to say, hey, this guy doesn't work in my system, trade him, try to see what you can get for him. Right now, the Tampa Bay Islanders game is at the end of the first, it's tied up 1-1. Excuse me. Let's see who's got the goals here. Sergachev and Kyle Clutterbuck for the Isles. Kyle Clutterbuck is, and having Matt Martin, Casey Zizekas, and Kyle Clutterbuck has got to be one of the hardest hitting lines ever in the NHL. These guys, as soon as they come on the ice, their energy, they hit people, they hit everything that moves. Not exactly a big fan of the way they play. And when they play against the Penguins, we'll put it that way. But it's still. Here's another. Frank Saravelli has also said that the Penguins retain 50% of Nick Bjugstad's contract. That's why it is the cap space is $9 million instead of 11. They kept part of it. Which may be coming out in good faith later down the line. Say if you do trade Matt Murray to Minnesota, we'll just see how it goes. Other than that, right now we have just the conference finals games. Hopefully next week we'll be able to talk, you know, possibility of a Stanley Cup matchup. We'll go from there. Everything's going to be played right. Everything's played right now in Edmonton. And then we will see what happens if there's a flurry of trades by then. And we'll see what happens after that. Maybe there'll be another signing or two, or maybe another deal possibly for the Penguins. But other than that, as of right now, we have very little to talk about, unfortunately. But let's keep everybody safe and healthy. It's a somber day with a 9/11. Being a little older, bringing a family into the world, you remember where you were, what you did, every little thing. My oldest daughter at that time was 8 months old. Still say thoughts and prayers to all the families of all the first responders, families and stuff of the 3,000 people lost that day. I'm a firm believer in what everybody gets up in the morning, their first thought is, hey, I woke up today. It's a good day. It's a plus. It's all downhill now. Everybody's common goal is to get home at the end of the day, whether you're white, black, pink, green, blue, purple, gay, straight, lesbian, whatever, it doesn't matter. Your common goal is to get home to your family at the end of the day. It'd be nice to see everybody start doing, taking care of each other again. Put all the differences aside. It's a different time in the world right now. I do remember how after 9/11, everybody looked out for each other and had each other's backs. It didn't matter, you were American. Racism was out the window. Gender equality out the window. Everybody was American. Everybody supported each other. And I think we need to get back to that. We need to love and support each other, no matter if you agree or disagree. Doesn't matter. Your opinion is your opinion. You have to respect somebody else's opinion. It'd be great to, if everybody enjoyed that little credo. It's like, hey, it's your opinion. That's great. Let's talk about it. Not argue, talk. All right, everybody, be safe. Take care of yourselves. This is the episode of Muckin N Grindin. I'll see you guys again next week at 8:30 on Friday night. High school football with being back in swing. Hopefully, some of you guys will catch the show on YouTube or on Facebook Live after the fact. Everybody, please take care of yourselves. Stay safe, everybody.